Adam was fed up with this. He was absolutely fed up with taking Sera's orders. Adam was the first man on earth. Adam was the human. And ever since God left, he felt that humans should rule now. After all, angels were meant to serve God and serve humans, right? So why? Why does Sera lead? It made no sense. Adam would become angrier and angrier as the years passed, until one day he simply couldn't take it anymore. He would lock his door and make sure no one was listening. As him and Lute were together, Lute would say, "What is it, sir?" Adam would take a deep breath. For this plan to work, he needed allies. However, things were different. He knew that if he was wrong about Lute, if he was wrong about her loyalties, then it would be over for him. He wouldn't be the head extras anymore. He might even be kicked out of heaven. Or worse, exterminated himself. As Adam would say, "Who do you think should rule heaven now that God's gone?" As then Lute would say, "Sir, what are you talking about?" Lute was completely unprepared for what she was going to hear next. Who would be prepared? What she heard would completely shock her to the core. As Adam would simply look at her and have a deep sigh. As Adam would say, "Listen, Lute, I think it's time. It's time we overthrow Sera. I'm tired of all these rules. I'm tired of all these regulations. She says it's a council, but she's the head. If we could turn the council against each other, we can overthrow them." Lute would say, "Sir, that's high treason, I know. If you want to turn me in," Lute would say, "I'm in." As Adam would say, "What?" Lute would then smirk and say, "You heard me, I'm in." Adam was happy but also worried. So was Lute. Lute knew if this didn't work, they would, well, she didn't know what would happen to them, but she did know it was a fate possibly worse than death, so she couldn't let that happen. They need to find allies, more than just the exorcists. Maybe they can get a few exorcists to join them, but they need more than that to overthrow an entire council. So Adam would play the long game and gain up his popularity and favor with humans, always hanging out with them, always going around with them. And Lute and Adam really start news campaigns. They wouldn't talk bad about Sera, at least not yet. But they would build doubt. They would talk about failures of heaven and things like that. Things that would slowly cast doubt in their minds and things that would make people want change over time. Adam in this timeline was playing the long game. He knew he could just run up there with a weapon and try to take down Sera. Maybe he could even get her in the back. But if he did that, no one would want him as leader. He needed to make sure people wanted this. As then he would meet with Abel, his son. Abel was a farmer. Abel was different from Adam. He didn't like to fight. He just enjoyed his peaceful life, but he was well liked in heaven. After all, he was the son of Adam and the one that was broken down. If he's endorsed Adam's rule, then it could become legitimate. However, treason was not his style, so Adam and Abel would continue to talk. As in Adam would say, "You support me, right?" As he would say, "Yeah." And then Adam would take his hand and say, "Son, I love you, but things have been troubling." As Adam knew that his son wanted his attention, his son wanted his love. He wanted it for a long time, and he can manipulate him. He can use him to get what he wants. So that's exactly what he did. As Adam basically goaded his son, saying, "If something bad happens, if something huge happens, I need you to support me. I can't make it without you." Abel would then look and say, "I promise, Dad." As then they would both smile as he would walk off. With an endorsement like that would go a long ways, but now he needs to sow dissent from the inside. As Adam and Lute would go to a meeting with Charlie. Charlie talked about this hotel. It was the dumbest idea. To bring redemption, to bring sinners to heaven, it would be so dumb if the government invested in it. Then, well, people wouldn't like that. Adam could spin it to his favor, but he didn't want to be the one to invest in it. He didn't want his name to be on it. Adam would say, "You know what? That's a great idea. I'll talk to Evan." Charlie would say, "Really? Yeah." Lute would say, "Sir, what do you follow me?" As they both walked up, Adam would say, "That's the worst idea I ever heard, right?" Lute would say, "Yeah." So if heaven invested in it and wasted all their resources in it, that would be a disaster, right? Charlie would be our puppet, and her dreams must be supported fully, and all of that effort put into it to show how much of a failure it is. And in the very unlikely case which it actually works, which it won't, we'll just spin it as in refugees coming to heaven that are dangerous, and we can turn that. The old school Heavenites and the old school hierarchy will need a return to power, and even though having a human would be totally different, there's not really much of a choice. Besides, it'll be like a compromise between the New Age revolutionaries that were slowly created and the hierarchs. As Lute would say, that's genius. Adam would say, yeah, I know, I'm effing awesome. I'm the D-Master. As then Lute would say, okay, now you're starting to act like yourself. As then, Lute would then go to Emily. They didn't want Adam to do it in case this was mentioned. Adam could throw Lute under the bus and pardon her later. As Lute would go to Emily and say, hey, I'm having trouble. Emily would say, what's up? As Emily and Lute would talk, Emily would be excited as Lute would say, there's a project, but no one will get behind it. I know you can convince the council, though. If the council gets behind it, I'm sure only good things will come of it, Lute would say. As Emily would say, well, what is it? As then Vaggie would sigh and say, it's this redemption hotel idea. As she would tell Emily about it, Emily would be ecstatic. As then Emily would walk away, Lute would simply smirk as Adam would continue to play his favor. As Emily would start to make arguments, a few people would join her, but the most wouldn't. This would cause a little bit of debate between the two, and this is exactly what they all planned. Eventually, Charlie would go to the meeting, just like in canon. As Charlie went, Adam would corner Vaggie alone, but he would say something different this time. As then, Adam would walk up to Vaggie, as Vaggie would get ready for a fight or whatever this was. As then, Adam would say, I need you to do me a small favor. Yeah, you'll never get away with the exorcism or something like that. Just reveal it. I can't have me or Emily reveal it at all, because then it will spoil things. I need people down there to look like they're sad, to look like they're desperate. And then when the regime change, we'll use that to our advantage. In fact, you would say, change? Oh, there's a big change going on here. I would be scared to tell anyone else, but you, I can tell everyone your secrets, so we're kind of at even odds. Do this, and you'll be safe from us. Vaggie would say, that's it? Yeah. As then, Lute and Vaggie would look at each other, as Lute would say, no hard feelings, as she walked away. As Charlie would walk back in and say, Vaggie, you look distressed. As the meeting would go normally like in canon, Vaggie in this alternate timeline would say, so wait, you refuse to redeem us, but you want to wipe us out? How messed up is that? As they would say, what are you talking about? As Vaggie would then sigh and spill the beans, as Emily and things would sing like in canon. And Charlie wouldn't be that suspicious. Sera could possibly reveal who she was, but I feel like she'd be too busy to do something like that. As basically the time continues like normal, we then cut back to Adam and Lute. With that disastrous interview, the disastrous meeting, it's finally time to strike. We finally cut to Sera. Sera was drinking some tea. She would feel like she couldn't move, but she fell to the floor. Sera tried to move. She tried to get up, but then she heard footsteps as she saw Adam. She would say, help me, as then Adam would slowly grab her by the neck and lift her up as he held out an angelic weapon. You know, since these weapons are magic, they erase fingerprints. We did that in case hell ever tried to track us down. Remember that order? Kind of ironic that order would be your undoing. You were so careful, so meticulous against all of your enemies. That meticulous led you to your demise. Sera would say, why are you doing this? To rule, of course. I'm the one in charge now. As then Adam would stab Sera to gone. As then he would hide the evidence and made it look like someone else assassinated her. No one knew who. As the council was rambling and about to go into civil war, suddenly Adam the Exorcist would march in. As Adam would declare himself the unofficial ruler, just until we can elect a new one. People were shocked, and no one really liked that decision to hire up, but they didn't really have a choice. It was either that or descend into chaos, and Adam was extremely popular. And with Abel's blessing and humans being able to vote, Adam won the landslide, as Adam would become the president of heaven. As heaven was now a democracy that shocked everything, no one really knew what to do. No one really knew where to go from here. Adam would, of course, want more power and to consolidate it, but that will have to wait. For now, he needs to continue the exorcism. Adam would never betray Charlie and go after the hotel, though, just because he knew it wasn't a good idea. And this timeline, Adam was way smarter, way more strategic, and that is why he became the ruler of heaven. The first man on earth created in God's image is now rules heaven in his absence. And that's going to leave things off, and happy Memorial Day in the U.S. In other countries, I know they have similar holidays, but for the U.S. right now, because I know I have some international viewers, it's Memorial Day right now, at least when the time of this video is being released. So yeah, I just like to say that I love you all so much, and I hope you have a good Memorial Day, and I respect all the troops that have passed away in service of us, have passed away saving us and keeping us safe. I'm a pacifist, and I don't really agree with some of the stuff we do, but, this isn't a political channel, and I wouldn't want to get into that, but I 100% respect the troops, and I respect the sacrifices they make, and that's one thing that I will not compromise on. That's one thing that I will do. Even though I disagree with a lot of things our country does, and I disagree with a lot of the wars that we have started, I do not blame the troops, and I never will. But yeah, and I have a lot of family members who were in the military. Sadly, though, they have all passed away. Most of them passed away from natural causes, though, not fighting. But yeah, I just wanted to say that if you have a loved one that passed away in combat or passed away, I've heard about Navy, people in the Navy just passing away from waves and stuff, there's a lot of different ways that you can go. Not when people think of passing away and in the military, usually they think of combat, obviously, but there's a lot of other ways. And no matter how they passed away, I am sorry that you had to go through that. I really am. And I hope that today will be a good day. And I hope that you can celebrate them. And as a kid, I just saw this as a day off school. I know that's disrespectful. I kind of feel bad for that now. But, it is what it is. And as a little kid, I didn't know any better. And now as an adult, I see how much it means. It's with a lot of things as a kid, you just get off school for a holiday and you don't really feel the significance of it. When you get older, these little stupid holidays, they start to feel more significant, at least for me. So yeah. Anyway, love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I hope you all are doing okay. And if you have any loved ones that passed away in service, I'm sorry. And I hope that these videos brought a little smile to your face. Peace out. Love you all.